Hello, good evening, and welcome, both of you, all three of you. Anyone want to give their name or just make any comment? No. Right. Well, there's only one. If you're an American, or even if you're not, like me, there's only one subject to be. Oh God, now I've lost another one. Stay with me, please. There's only one subject to be talking about. That's the Kavanaugh case and Christine Blasey Ford, which, and this is what has been happening, has been absolutely outrageous. What can I say? This, if any of you saw Dr. Ford's testimony, it was described by Donald Trump initially as compelling, credible, whatever. He's later revised that downwards. My view, if you've visited the International Force Vote timeline, you'll know that my view is that a woman who comes forward a woman who comes forward 6 months ago and claims to have been raped, a woman who claims to have been raped 6 months ago has little or no credibility. Now, this is slightly different. She claimed to have been 15 years old when this happened, and I can understand a 15-year-old not reporting something that stopped short of rape, or quite a bit short of rape. As for the way she delivered her testimony, I found the substance of it credible, but not the way she delivered it. And the reason for that, as I've said quite often before, is that if you look at, YouTube has been around, 20 years now, and the internet for a bit longer. We've now got lots of testimonies, including video testimonies, of women who have been raped unambiguously. Some of them have suffered terribly. And the thing I always say is that if you look at genuine rape survivors, I use survivors literally, women who've been lucky to escape with their lives. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. If you look at women who've been lucky to escape literally their lives and compare them with women who've suffered or claim to have suffered very fairly or even very trivial sexual assaults, you always find that the women who suffer the most make the least noise about it, while the empty vessels make the most noise. I see if I can find the URL for it. I did publish I did upload a short video about this case to the Internet Archive. I'll post the URL. Well, I'll have the URL to this video when it goes public. But I'll add it now. Where is it? Oh, here we are. This is called 2 Real Victims and 1 Head Case. I'll add it there. There I've compared 2 real victims. I take it you've all heard of the Cleveland captives. We did an interview with 2 of the Cleveland captives, Amanda Berry and Gina De Jesus, which was made recorded about 2 years after their escape. And if you compare them with Christine Blasey Ford, you think that They were the ones who were groped at a party, and she was the one who'd been chained to a wall for a decade, beaten, starved, psychologically tortured, and raped innumerable times. The contrast is really amazing. Now, if that incident had happened, so let me say, whatever happened, I don't believe that Brett Kavanaugh was in any way involved. That's no way at all. I don't believe he was in any way involved. But if that incident, when I watched that video, I thought this is a woman who has had an experience, a real experience, and for whatever reason, she's put this experience, claimed this experience was down to Brett Kavanaugh, or she has confabulated the two. This is actually alternatively, it could be a total false memory. Now, incidentally, Ann Coulter had something to say about this. Quite intelligent. I'm going to play a short clip here of Ann Coulter in what she says may have happened. I can find it. Where is it? I hope this sounds okay. Let me know if it doesn't.
And I don't know if you get this. I get this all the time. Public figures get themselves inserted in people's memories, people we knew years and years ago in high school, in college, in law school. It's not always unflattering. Often it's flattering, but it's simply not true. I had a radio host tell me not that long ago that he had a friend who went to law school with me, and he starts exchanging this really wonderful exchange, and I was so clever and witty, arguing with Professor Yale Camisar in a criminal procedure class. He gets done with the whole thing about how this classmate of mine was so impressed and it was so great, thought you were so funny, and I had to tell him I never took a class with Yale Camisar. That is a completely fictional description. Not unflattering, but what happens to people's memories. And I seriously have had at least a dozen boys either getting back to me through the grapevine, oh, this guy I worked at a law firm with, he dated you in college. No, maybe we were in the same dorm and nodded to one another. I don't know why it happens, but people insert public figures when they come into the news, and boy, was Brett Kavanaugh in the news, not only in 1998, but especially in 2012.
That's, to me, sounded very plausible. Paul Gambaccini made the same claim. If you're not familiar with Paul Gambaccini, he's an American exile living in London, been here for most of his life. He's a DJ, radio presenter, also a music musicologist. He's also a homosexual, and with the Operation Uchi witch hunt, which you may have heard of that, he was one of the people to be accused of some sort of sex act, and because he's known to be homosexual, he doesn't wear it on his sleeve like some do. His accuser was male, and as he pointed out, the police, when they go after him, they weren't in the right year, they weren't even in the right decade, because at the time he hasn't always been homosexual, and he was very, considering what he went through, along with Jim Davidson and the other one who was extremely magnanimous, William Roach. I say he was extremely magnanimous. He said that the celebrity, the ordinary person, maybe is known to a couple of hundred people, but the celebrity is known to millions. And what people do is they have bad experiences and they put a famous face on it. I'm not quite so magnanimous. I think he was falsely accused just for the hell of it. The other thing I would say is false memories. These are actually very common, and they can be produced in quite level-headed people, which clearly Dr. Blasey Ford is not. This is one of my short favourite video clips of all time. Again, only the audio, but this is just over a minute and 18 seconds. This is Elizabeth Loftus, the world's leading authority on false memories, explaining how false memories can be generated in otherwise level-headed people.
One of the things that I and my colleagues did is to try to get people to remember that they met and shook hands with Bugs Bunny at Disneyland. This would be impossible because Bugs is a Warner Brothers character and wouldn't be allowed at Disney.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do we get people to believe that? We give them an ad to evaluate. So here's a fake ad for Disney, and you can see Disney in the castle, and there's Bugs. And they review the ad. They just tell us how much they like it. Do they like the colors? Do they like the layout? But later on, when we say, tell us about one of your childhood trips to Disney. Which characters do you remember meeting? Do you remember meeting Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, the Little Mermaid, Bugs Bunny? We will get lots of people to tell us they remember meeting Bugs. And then when they get pressed for details, they'll say they shook his hand. They'll say they touched his tail. They'll say he was eating. One said he was eating a carrot. One said, a few said he said.
So it becomes real.
It becomes real. They embellish it with detail, and it looks every bit like a real memory.
Yeah.
Even though it couldn't have happened.
As I say, that was Elizabeth Loftus. You'll find that clip under the title Bunny Effect on my main website. Wow, we're up to 6. False memories are very common. You undoubtedly have them yourself. I'll give you an example from personal experience. This is quite trivial. 2008 or 2009, I went to an internet cafe to do some printing. I don't have a printer at home. I do very little printing. And on the way back, I did a little bit of shopping at the local co-op, which is now closed. I got home, and later I was looking for my wallet. I couldn't find it. So what do you do when you lose a wallet or keys or something? You go back, you run your mind back to where you had it last. And the last place I could remember having it was the supermarket. So I went to the supermarket on the off chance that somebody handed it in. Nobody handed it in. It was only about £10 or £20 in it. Obviously, I was annoyed. The next day, I went back to the internet cafe to do some more printing. I sat in the same seat, the very same seat, and behind the monitor was my wallet. Now, obviously, somebody didn't find that in a supermarket. I remembered having it I remembered it having it in a supermarket, but it wasn't there. If I may quote Elizabeth Loftus again, this is one of her favourite quotes. You'll find this all over the internet. Most people think of memory as a video record that can be played over and over and over again. It's actually more like a Wikipedia page that anybody can edit, including accidentally. And this was what I thought may have happened to Christine Blasey Ford. I wasn't impressed at all with her little girly voice. She sounded to me too much like Darlie Routier. If you haven't heard of Darlie Routier, you'll find her interviewed on YouTube. She's on death row. Murdered two of her young sons, and she puts on this little girly voice. I don't know how much of it is her natural voice. So I was inclined to give Dr. Blasey Ford the benefit of the doubt. I thought that quite likely she'd had a real experience, perhaps not as drastic as she said. The guy putting a hand over her mouth. I mean, it may have been a confabulation. She may have put her hand over her own mouth, and the way she said it, it was they were clowning in the bedroom. But I did a little research on her, and other people have. If you look up Bombard's body language, the woman who does that is not impressive at all. Christine Blasey Ford contributed to. She and another academic, female academic, contributed to a book called How Many Subjects, the second edition. Hello. Yes, thanks very much, Voice Spawn. I'm coming to that. Thank you. I don't know if you've been here before, but stay for the duration. Come back next week and bring your friends with you. I looked up her book and I read a bit of her book, How Many Subjects. It's the second edition. The first edition was published in 1980 something by when she was too young to. It's an updated edition by her and another academic. She's listed as Professor of Psychology at Stanford University School of Medicine. Professor of Psychology at Palo Alto University and a research psychologist at Stanford University School of Medicine, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. The co-author of over 50 peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters. She teaches statistics and research methods. Her primary interest is mentoring future psychologists. Well, there's a lot of red flags there. The first thing is that statistics. Now, this is not a female field. I mean, there are women who teach mathematics. A lot of women who teach mathematics up to high school, but after that, mathematics is something that involves abstract thought, which is something women are not big on. So this is clearly a highly intelligent woman, not just a highly intelligent woman, a highly intelligent person per se. She's easily within the top 2 or 3% of people IQ-wise. So statistics and now she's done psychology and psychiatry. She must be aware of false memories, how easy it is. And in her testimony, under a cross-examination, very mild cross-examination before Congress, she made it clear that she understands trauma and such. So she must have heard of, if she hasn't heard of the bunny experiment, she's heard of the lost in the mal experiment, the bunny effect. She's heard of the lost in the mal experiment. She knows how easily false memories can be created. She knows all about confabulation. And I really don't believe that 30 years or more on, she was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. It came out a bit about her being reluctant to fly. That came out as a lie. She wasn't accused of lying, but enough information came out. She's flown all over the place, and that was clearly a ploy by the Democrats to stall or even avoid her coming to Washington to testify. But leaving aside with what I found in her, what I found in her academic record, and what other people have come out with, an ex-boyfriend of hers says that, and this hasn't been widely reported, that her claim of to being claustrophobic is bunk, that she lived in a small apartment. Yeah. To me, the actual word, this is the actual words she used, the testimony is credible because you don't remember everything about, whether it's traumatic or untraumatic events. I mean, I can remember being at a wedding 15 or 20 years ago. Well, must be 20 odd years ago now. And I remember things about it, but I don't remember the church. I remember names of some of the guests, but and your memory is selective, so it's also unreliable. And while the word she used was credible, I believe she was putting on an act. And it's now come out that one website has done some research. I'm sorry about that. Oh, Sean, hello. Nice to see you. Hope you're still. If you get any more Irish cases, please send them to me. I've got 1 or 2 more to go in. Got over 4,000 on the timeline. With I lost my thread now. It's come out that the bit about the front door, she was nervous about having a front door. She wanted a second front door on the house, and it's come out that this was actually before this couples therapy business, and it's some years before it, and so that destroys her further destroys her credibility. And the other thing I would say is that this is meant to be a repressed memory. Well, the only thing I can say is it's a good thing that she only had a repressed memory of being sexually assaulted by Brett Kavanaugh and not of being raped by her own father, as so many of these stupid women do. But on balance, there's obviously room here for conspiracy. I don't believe she's a total innocent. My personal belief is that she made this whole thing up very carefully, but not carefully enough. And I think the whole thing is a scam by her. Having said that, the Democrats have been more than willing to play along with it. And the way Kavanaugh has been portrayed is utterly disgraceful. And I think this will be a chance for rational people to put a stop to this Me Too madness, because we've seen in the UK with Operation U Tree, they destroyed one of the great entertainers of our time, Rolf Harris. In Australia, there was Robert Hughes, who's serving a jail sentence on the basis of repressed memories or recovered memories from some demented former child actress. They took down Bill Cosby, one of the biggest black entertainers in the United States. They tried to take down Trump, well, like the alpha male he is, he put them in their place. If they could take down a senior judge, they'd really be on a roll. And I think if further damning evidence comes to light, this woman, Blasey Ford, should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Yes, yes, Mr. Void. The whole thing is, yeah, you're right, Sean. I don't know how long you've been here, but I covered the bunny effect. You'll find it on my main website, and there's also the Lost in the Mallet experiment. It's easily done, and I say there's a little experiment you can do yourself. Anybody can do. Watch a film on YouTube or a film on DVD or whatever, if anybody still buys DVDs. Something you've seen before, a film or a documentary, or a home video, and one you've seen a few times, but not one you've seen once or twice at least, but not before, not for a while. And when you get to a point where you think you know what's going to happen next, stop the tape, write down what a person is going to say or what's going to happen next, and you'll be surprised how often you get it wrong. There'll be a slight variance in the script. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe somebody else will say something. Maybe it'll be something totally different. We reconstruct our memories, and every time we go back, dip into our memories, it alters it. So, I mean, this whole Blasey Ford business is this really is absolutely the attacks on Kavanaugh are absolutely outrageous. As I say, if this guy had been less than a very senior judge, they would have prolonged this. They would have encouraged more demented females or attention seekers or fantasists to come forward, and they would almost certainly have taken him down. And it's just absolutely outrageous. And this is what the whole, I mean, if you look at police trawling operations of when you have allegations in schools and homes, a lot of the time it's men are accused. The accusers there are boys, because mostly girls in care homes are in the charge of women, thankfully. Well, and so you get lots of boys coming forward. And what will happen? You'll get one master or a teacher who's accused, perhaps actually of a genuine act of sexual abuse, usually some act of fairly mild groping or something, and then the police will go after him, and then they'll trawl through everywhere he's been, and they'll go back and they'll find young men who've ended up in prison or whatever, and tell them, we're looking for people, we're looking at people who've been for people who've been sexually abused. If you give us testimony, yada yada yada. There's documentation of that on the Force Rape timeline. If you look under Inside Time, that's an entry for Inside Time, which is a prison newspaper, and there's actually advertisements from firms of solicitors trawling prisons, looking for men to make claims against schools and care homes. It happened before, isn't established. Yes, I quite agree. Just slightly off topic. Does anyone know how to save this chat? I tried this last time. I can't save it. Everybody enforce. Yeah. Actually, Sean, I believe Amanda Knox is guilty. I think there's something there. I mean, she falsely accused that guy of rape. If you check my video, Rape and Corroboration, you'll see that this is on the internet. I'll post a link for it. Body language isn't always an accurate guide, because people vary so much. Thanks, Spawn. Here we are. I'll post the link for Rape and Corroboration. I haven't managed to save the. I don't think I managed to. Please stop it. Please stop. There's one thing you'll flatter me to death. Thank you, sir. What's happened here? Oh, here we are. I'll just add this. That's Rape and Corroboration. Some people are very unconvincing liars. Some are very plausible. I'm a very implausible truth teller, which is why one reason I try to work. I work overwhelmingly from the public domain, and I always change my mind when I'm wrong. So, I mean, body language is one thing, but how can I put it? Police officers are natural liars, maybe because of the way they're recruited. But think about this: if you're a police officer, if you've got 5 years service in, and if on average you've been to court once a month in that period for, you're given evidence 50 or 60 times, maybe just a magistrate's court. Practice doesn't make perfect, but it certainly improves most people. But by the time you've testified under oath 10 or 12 times, you know what to say, what not to say, how to say, how not to say, etc. So I'm not too impressed with it. Some people are just smooth liars, and polygraphs. I say she passed a polygraph. Well, Gary Ridgway, the Green River killer, passed a polygraph with flying colours. So I don't go too much on. Obviously, to me, physical evidence should always trump witness testimony. Anything else, unless there's good reason to believe it's been faked or otherwise been otherwise not reliable. There's a classic case of that on the timeline of a bloke named Figueroa who was accused, I think it was 1983, he was accused of raping, I think it was an 11-year-old girl, and her friend backed her up, and they did testing, which wasn't DNA then. It was it was semen. Otherwise, his goose would have been well and truly cooked. But there was physical evidence. He was on remand. And what happened then was a new district attorney was put on the case, a district attorney of unimpeachable integrity, it appears, because I think it was he, noticed there was something wrong with the results. It went back to the laboratory and it got the wrong results. He re-interviewed the girl and she admitted she made it up and her friend backed it up. So they had two young girls lying to put I forget what the reason was. You'll find it on the timeline. It was Black and Figueroa. But if for just the physical evidence alone, you would convict. Witness testimony can be incredibly compelling, but as Elizabeth Loftus points out, the person may believe in it 100%, and it can be utterly false. So that's. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything more about Professor Christine Blasey Ford. But the other person who was in the news a bit recently was Bill Cosby. I'm not a fan of Cosby, but it's clear to me that the only case against him was that of Andrea Constand. And as I've made two full-length videos on the Cosby case. The second one I pointed out, there's clearly a case there for reasonable doubt. But what does amaze me about the Cosby case is that many of these women, some are obviously lying, some have been proven lies, they've been refuted by chronology, and yet they're still paraded by the media as being victims, survivors of Bill Cosby. So a lot of this is down to the media. And so they've taken out, they've also taken out, more or less taken out Harvey Weinstein, one of the most powerful Jews in Hollywood, and that's an achievement. Weinstein is obviously an odious character, but the entrapment they ran on him with that rather timid model that tends to indicate that he has boundaries. 10 minutes behind everyone else, Sean. It's 22:33. He obviously has boundaries. I certainly don't believe he raped Rose McGowan. Any man who tried to rape Rose McGowan would wind up with scratches on his face and a pain where it hurts. But the whole point of these historical allegations is very many concerning how many people simply. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think the Democrat. I mean, that senator from Hawaii, Mazie Hirono. She's again. I've put a compilation on the Internet Archive just for her. It's called "Women Do Not Make These Things Up." It's a compilation of women lying about rape. She's obviously none too bright. I've heard her speaking about other things as well. Kamala Harris is a thoroughly evil woman, and it beggars belief that she should ever run for president, much less become president. Hopefully that will never happen. The one woman who obviously does understand these things is the odious Hillary Clinton, because if you listen to Fox News, they parrot the mantra about Clinton being credibly accused of rape by Juanita Broaddrick. No, he was not credibly accused. She didn't accuse him of rape until 20 odd years after. And she claimed in retrospect that she told people and people thought they remembered it. This is something, yeah. Well, did you, it's, let me know, Sean, how far behind you are. yeah, she kept it. I mean, I can understand her being vague, but I think what she was hoping for was that one or two of her friends would back her up. And it wouldn't surprise me actually if some time ago she mentioned this to one of her friends, because I mean the one idiot on I think it's Coleman, one of the talking heads, said that her testimony had been corroborated, and the corroboration was that she told a therapist in 2012 and was repeating the same, or essentially the same thing in 2018. Well, no, I mean, telling the same story 6 years apart, or essentially the same story 6 years apart, is not a corroboration of nothing. Although there are some feminists who would like it to be. They would like disclosures to therapists to count as evidence, which is no. We have to stop this madness now, and it's actually, if anything, it's getting worse, especially in the UK. It's now, well, it has been for some time, possible for a man to be convicted of rape, not just any trivial sexual offence, but rape on the uncorroborated testimony of a woman he's never met. A rape that could be backdated years or even decades. And when I say trivial, most sexual assaults, one of the things they do is they conflate sexual assault with rape. I mean, simply somebody touching that is touching somebody's chest without permission is sexual assault. Certainly for a professional person to be convicted of a sexual assault is never trivial. A doctor or a lawyer who is so convicted will lose his livelihood. He'll be struck off, especially a doctor. It's never trivial for the accused. Well, it may be trivial for the victim. Yes. I've no doubt she's going to make money out. I don't think she. Yeah, I believe some people though. I don't think she started it with the intention of making money, but she probably saw the prospect of it there. Right. Anybody want to discuss any related or unrelated subjects? Anything in the news or not in the news? No. What I will do, I was thinking of moving this to a Saturday night or even a Sunday night. Probably, I know a lot of people go out on Saturday nights, but if any of you can let me have some, any five of you can let me have some feedback, if you prefer Friday night or Saturday night, or even Sunday night, and I'll see about it. But I will be taking questions. What I will do, I think, I've got a couple ideas for a couple of future hangouts. One will be to deal with rape statistics and how they're fabricated, and the other thing I'll probably deal with how I came to start the false rape timeline, because although it wasn't really until 2008 that I began to take an interest in false rape allegations per se. My interest in the subject goes back a long way. I had a letter published on false rape allegations. Well, not published, read out on radio in 1980. You'll find that letter on the Internet Archive. It's Radio 1. I'll deal with I think the modern mythology of rape and the statistics, etc. Friday, Saturday, prefer. Yeah. Well, a lot of people get up for work. A lot of people get up for work Monday morning. I'm in the fortunate position where I work from home mostly, and I'll be working after this till about 2 a.m. But a lot of people who don't do shift work, aren't retired, etc. Monday morning is always a bad day. for workers. Saturday, well, I will try Friday again. So I'll see if I can generate a few. I've emailed I've emailed quite a few people. I put advertised this on Twitter. I've got 100, I think 189 followers, 199 subscribers now. I had 200 yesterday. I've 199 now. I had about 186. I think it was 186 last week. So I picked up subscribers, but I'm definitely shadow banned on YouTube. I've had 2 or 3 of my videos made private for well, I mean, it's just this new censorship. But I'm definitely shadow banned. I think YouTube you used to be able to email your subscribers individually, didn't you? It was rather painstaking, but I can't do that anymore. But I'll put this. I'll edit out the music at the beginning. I'll put this on the Internet Archive as well as YouTube, probably next month. But it's been nice talking to some people this week. Yeah, I mean, I think Christine Blasey Ford is a very plausible. Well, to some people, she's a very plausible liar. She doesn't impress me at all. And Kavanaugh is so squeaky clean. I say what they've done to him is absolutely. I mean, I'm not a great generally sympathise with judges as agents of state repression, but so this guy is squeaky clean, and it's they absolutely disgraceful what they've done to him, and these stupid women claiming he's a serial rapist. Sorry, Shauna. I don't know if there's any solution for that. Probably not. The other thing I was going to suggest, I was going to ask if anybody knew how to. Some live hangouts you have 2 people speaking. I don't know. Firstly, I want to be able to save the chat. Also want to be able to put my funding button on here. I'm not expecting any donations, but some people get some quite substantial donations. But I want to put a funding button. But I'd like to be able to save the chat, and also I'd like to be able to other people to actually physically speak. So I've tried. I'm using what's it called? Streamlabs. I think I'm using Streamlabs. I think I'm using Streamlabs, but it's I'm quite good with computers. I use no HTML after sorts. I'm old enough to remember DOS, and I can still, if I had it, I could still program in the batch language. But there's something I've tried with this. Trying to get my head around this. So I mean, the main thing, I'll see if I can save the chat, and also I want to be able to. I would like to be able to go 2s up with somebody, or maybe have 3 or 4 people talk. I don't know. I mean, I've seen it on RT where they have crosstalk. They have 4 people talking, and you have a guy in the studio. So you have 5 windows, but that's obviously different software. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Amanda Knox is another. I mean, she and her boyfriend Celeste obviously lied to. It wasn't just the rape that by Lumumba she fabricated. I think there was something going on there. Right. I'll just let you know what's. I'm still adding cases to the full stroke timeline. I've got several hundred to add. I'll be digging out some more at the library next week. I've got some books, some newspapers in order. I've got probably had 2 or 3 new entries tomorrow, actually, or well, after midnight. But it's growing. What I would dearly like is more entries from foreign languages. So if any of you have access to old newspapers from, I don't know, Mexico or Portugal or something with false rape allegations, I'll be very happy. I've found quite a few on Trove, which is the marvelous Australian national newspaper archive. Chronicling America isn't very good. It's very, I don't know if it's the searches aren't very good at all. I use Newsbank, which is a subscription database. I've used the UK one and the US one. I've also got access to historical newspapers. I'm trying out quite a few old cases. I want to expand this. But I think really, although false rape allegations in the 1940s, something like half of false rape allegations were regarded by law enforcement as false. And it's only really with second wave feminism and the so-called date rape that this madness has started, because now you've got women. The idea women have been brainwashed into believing that if the sex was unsatisfactory, that at some point they rewrite the experience as rape. And there's an excellent one. Let me find this on the False Rape timeline. I won't play the video because it's quite long. But yeah, the entry for December 4th, 2017, from Norman, Oklahoma. A black footballer was a football player, Rodney Anderson, was accused by a woman named Courtney Thornton of rape, and they got the text messages from her, between her and a friend, and it was clear that the way she'd rewritten experience as rape, and probably she was ashamed of being thought of as a slut, which is what she was, of course, what she is. A lot of women, I'd say there was some on the timeline. There's some amazing. One of my favourites, as I said, was last week, was Kerry Thomas, who was in an Indian restaurant in Wolverhampton with her daughter and her lover. She goes outside, perhaps to smoke a cigarette. She meets a bloke, gets talking. They go down the alleyway and have sex, just like that. And there've been quite a few cases like this. It's quite an amusing one from, I think it's from Chelmsford. It's it is quite amazing, this one. Chelmsford, where is it? I can't. It was disabled. It's quite amazing. It was a man and a woman. Where is it? It's they proposition this. It's a guy. It's somewhere. I think somewhere in Essex. I can't find it. But it's him and his wife. I think they're in their 40s. He's had an operation, and he can only get off on watching his wife have sex with other men. And cafe. I was wondering if cafe is. They oh no, it might be. No, she has sex with this younger bloke in the street. They go to a cafe and accuse him of raping her, and it's some astounding the things women do, and men at times as well, and the things that the false allegations that are made and the circumstances of them. It's weirder than any Hollywood script. Right, we're down to 4. Anybody? We've got 50 minutes in now, so anyone? Anything else I want to raise before I wrap up? No. No. Okay. Well, I think that's yeah. Alexander, never Alex. Al, if you want, but please never Alex. Okay. Well, as things stand, there'll be another live stream Friday at 10 o'clock London time. In the meantime, if any of you want to email me, nice to hear from you again, Sean. Keep up the good work, and all of you avoid toxic women and mad women, and in particular, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. Bye.